Hello, boys and girls. Greg from the Scary Spirits podcast here to make you another cocktail. This week's cocktail is called the Cat's Eye and is the featured cocktail in today's episode. I'm going to start with our shaker with ice. To that, we're going to add Cointreau, 1/4 ounce. Dry vermouth, 1/2 ounce. Fresh lemon juice from the plastic lemon, 1/4 ounce. Next, the recipe calls for Kirsch, which I think is a clear brandy or something. I'm just going to use regular brandy. 1/4 ounce. Again, not very much. Finally, gin. 1.5 ounces gin. Then we shake until well chilled. And we strain into a wine glass. There you have it. The Cat's Eye. Not bad. Little lemon, little orange. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the podcast. See ya.
This week's movie on the Scary Spirits podcast, the very entertaining The Shadow of the Cat, gives me total legitimacy for having 5 felines. I'm not a crazy cat lady. I'm just protecting myself against nefarious murderers who were after my inheritance. Good luck with that one, by the way. It's totally true that cats hold a grudge, and they exact their own level of revenge. Usually puking on the carpet at 3 a.m., but still, revenge. Total transparency, only 4 of the 5 cats in my house are probably capable of putting together any type of revenge plot. But that 5th one, he sure is a handsome boy. Getting past the Rottweiler probably makes up for the cat's shortcomings, though. Cheers!
Welcome to the Scary Spirits podcast. Please be advised that the presenters may use adult language and or discuss adult situations. This podcast is not intended for younger listeners or those that may be easily offended. So, if you're ready, let's go.
Hello, boys and girls. I'm Greg.
Hi, everyone. I'm Karen.
And welcome to the Scary Spirits podcast, the podcast that combines the two very different but highly compatible worlds of scary films and alcoholic spirits.
What could possibly go wrong?
Indeed. How are you, Karen?
I'm doing great, Greg. How are you?
I'm doing good as well. Thank you for asking. Was this film your choice, Karen?
It was, and this film makes me feel overly confident about certain things, but we'll get to that.
Okay. What film have you chosen for us?
I chose The Shadow of the Cat from 1961.
Any reason, Karen, you chose that film?
Well, it was released on June 7th, and this podcast comes out on June 4th if you're listening in order.
Yes. Go live day is June 4th, God willing.
That's ominous.
Do we have a cocktail to go along with this film, Karen?
We do.
What would that be?
It's called The Cat's Eye.
I see what you did there, Karen. How would one make the cat's eye?
You're going to need a quarter ounce of Contral, half an ounce of dry vermouth, quarter ounce of fresh lemon juice, quarter ounce of Kirsch, which is apparently a clear brandy, but I didn't have that, so I used regular. 1.5 ounces of gin. You're going to combine all the ingredients in a cocktail shaker, add ice, and shake until well chilled. Strain into a chilled wine glass and garnish with an orange twist.
You think Kirsch is healthier than plain old brandy, Karen? Do you think it has the medicinal properties that brandy seems to have in all these old horror movies?
I don't know. That's a good question. Take out all the good stuff.
It's mostly gin. There's not a lot of brandy.
Yeah, it's very
in it.
gin forward. It's almost a gin martini with a little pizzazz.
Should we give our friends and listeners time to make their own cat's eye?
Of course we should.
Now, if you pick, Stephen King's film Cat's Eye, what are you going to pick, Karen, as your drink?
I don't know, something much more creative.
All right, hold on. And we're back.
Yes, we are.
Karen, might you have a brief synopsis for us of this film from 1961?
I do.
Do you remember 1961, Karen?
No.
Oh, okay. I don't either. It's way before our time. Go on, Karen. Tell us all a story.
A house cat sees her owner murdered by two servants under orders from her husband and becomes ferociously bent on revenge.
We are a match, Karen.
Woohoo!
All right, Karen, tell us everything you really enjoyed in this film. Anything you were pleasantly
Well, we
surprised
should say it's sort of a Hammer film, right? You said it's
by?
not
It is.
claimed necessarily by Hammer,
It's not
but
in the credits at all. It's from apparently their sister company.
you can kind of tell that a little bit, I think, because the sets are good and the clothes are good. I actually I kind of like the story because there's some mystery to it. You can't really tell if the cat's really orchestrating all these things or if it's just being a cat and these people are just bumbling into their deaths. I like to think the cat's planning it, but that's just me. It's very Poe-like in the story, and it even, of course, creates that with the start where they're reading The Raven. But it has that Poe feel to it, which I really enjoyed. I just, like I said, I feel overconfident now because this one cat, they had one cat that saw the woman get murdered, and then the cat takes out everyone involved in the murder. I'm thinking,
you feel like you got a lot of people got your back now,
yeah,
huh?
I mean, I got 5 cats. First, you have to make it past the Rottweiler. If you make it
There
past the
is that.
Rottweiler, then there's 5 cats that you have to make sure that they don't see you. I'm going to be honest a little bit. There's probably 4 cats that could execute something like this. I got a little special one too, but I think I feel confident. But I really thought the story was kind of cute. I liked it. It was different. It's not intense. It's just a fun little movie, I thought. There's some cool shots in it too. Some nice shadow work. Usual old school kind of stuff that I like. What about you? Did you like anything about it?
I have several things written down, Karen, actually. It's well shot. It's got good music. It's got good acting. It's pretty suspenseful, which I like. And I think the music helps with that in
The
places.
music's very prominent.
And I
Sometimes I liked it, sometimes I didn't.
and I there is one time when I'm like, well, that's hokey, but okay, I get it. You're doing
One
music.
time
There's one time, yeah.
with the music, you mean?
Yes, with the
Yeah.
music. And I like that it's in black and white. Hammer was doing films in color during this time period, but they decided to, or the sister company, BHP Productions, decided to film this in black and white. And I like it in black and white. I think it adds to it. It's a
I
good old
agree.
movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's Poe-like. Like I said, it's a dark and stormy night. There's an old house. There's mystery and murder. And
There's lots of Hitchcock in it too.
I would agree. Yes.
It reminded me a lot of, as I'm watching it, I wrote down Dementia 13,
Who's our Hammer Glamour girl?
Barbara Shelley.
Is she Elizabeth?
She is.
Yeah, she's a little older in this one, but still very pretty.
The last film we did, The Gorgon, she did back to back. Yeah, she did this one, then she did The Gorgon, was the next one she did.
She just seems a little more mature than some of the other Hammer Glamour girls, but not too much.
She is. I mean, in the Hammer Glamour book, Boys and Girls, she's on page 134, 135, 136, and 137.
Who would like to read along?
And it's because they list her as Hammer's most prolific female star. And they refer to her as the Hammer's first lady. I mean, she won two, three, four, five, six, seven. She was in 8 Hammer films, counting this one. And they do list this one as one of the films, The Shadow of the Cat. Shadow of the Cat. So she was their most prolific star, female star.
Wow.
And apparently she never married, so there were rumors, Karen, rumors. But apparently she had plenty of boyfriends, and she's okay with it all. Apparently she is still with us, as of the writing of the Hammer Glamour book. Anything else?
No, I liked it.
I did too. Actually, Karen, she died in 2021, so she is not with us any longer at age 88.
Wow. That's because she never married. She got to 88.
There might be some truth in that, Karen. There might be. Well, women always outlive men, but
Most of the time.
Most of the time. Yeah. Anything you didn't enjoy, Karen?
The things that I didn't enjoy were more to do with the story a little bit. Like the music sometimes was a little over the top, but it still added to it. I thought it was well placed, but every once in a while I'd be like, it's too much. And the other thing that in the story, as it says in the summary we did, we see the murder. Oh, I should say one other thing that I really liked before we move on is it took me a second to notice it, but they used a different lens for filming when they were showing it through the eyes of the cat.
It took me a minute to notice that as well.
I was like, what
At
are
first,
they?
I thought this was just a bad copy of the film or
Yeah,
something.
I said, what's happening? Is that a fisheye? Why are they doing that? And then, oh, so that was kind of cool. Every time we were looking through the cat's eyes, hence the drink, people, we were seeing it with a different lens. So that was really cool. But these people who did this whole fiasco were not cool at all. They completely act suspicious the entire time. They did not keep their cool. They look and act guilty from the very beginning. They're freaking out over this cat. Why would you freak out that a cat saw you commit murder? That part of it, that's the whole story, and I get that. And I went along for the ride, and I'm okay with it. But sometimes it was like, what is happening here? Why are they so... And I know that guilt probably can eat up at your soul or whatever. And of course, you're always... I would think if you murdered someone, you would always think you were going to be caught. I would guess. But they just freak the fuck out over this cat. And I kept thinking, why are they doing that? Like what? And I didn't like that when Elizabeth left with what's his name?
Michael.
Michael, they left the cat there at the house. I thought that's rude. And also,
I,
Michael is a newspaper guy, and then the inspector is just kind of stands around and Michael does everything. Which I'm like, come on, inspector, speak up. Let's go. Obviously, Michael's the star. So there wasn't those are kind of nitpicky things, and I don't think it's the same cat all the time either.
I thought it changed as well. At least once. I noticed it once.
So, but I was impressed that they could get the cat to do what they got the cat to do in the first place. So, is there anything you didn't like about it?
I didn't write anything down, but again, I think the main problem with the movie is the story of the story of the cat and how everyone's all freaked out about the cat.
It's more their reaction to the cat.
Right, but
I
it's a very Poe thing.
Yes.
So you, I mean, it opens with Poe, so you if you go into it thinking that and whatever, then
Yeah, the story
kind of
like
have to accept the silliness.
here, my wife has suddenly disappeared. But look, she redid her will 3 days ago, and it leaves everything to me. Like, that's not suspicious at all, And
Yeah.
there's
And they
just,
even say at one point that everyone knows that Walter married her for her money. Like it's no big secret, except to Beth, apparently.
yes. But if once you buy into the story, it's fun. I just think it's a fun little movie.
It is.
Although I will say, with like 20 minutes left, there's a lot of people left. I'm like, how's the cat going to knock him off? I honestly thought it was going to like cause a carriage accident or something.
Yeah, but he does. Or she, whatever. They call it Tabitha, but the cat's name was Bunky. I don't know if that's a male or female cat name. Bunky. Bunky the cat.
I think maybe they used stock footage where it was a different cat, but when the cat was actually in the movie, it was probably the same one. There's a couple of spots where it looks like it's a fake cat with glowing eyes or something, but I think most of the scenes where the cat is acting, it's probably Bunky, but there are some stock footage
I,
of it.
I felt like there was one scene when the cat was like in a field or in the woods or something, and there was a quick shot of him, but didn't look like him to me.
No, it looked like an orange cat versus the cat. I don't know. It was weird, but cute cat.
All right. What kind of cocktail rating you want to give this film, Karen?
I think it's a solid 3.
I agree.
I
Not
think
quite a
it,
two. Not quite a two.
no, and
It's
if you
better
like,
than a lot of the threes we've done, though, I think.
it is. If you like Poe, I think you'll like it.
Yeah. And it is well shot, like I said.
Yeah, I think it takes itself pretty seriously.
Would you like to hear a review, Karen?
I'm a little scared. Are they going to not like it? And we liked it so much. Of course, I'd like to hear it. What do you got?
First, I have to tell you, Karen, this has a 6.3 out of 10 on IMDb, 49% Rotten Tomatoes.
Really? That seems low.
I agree. What do you think Google users say?
90%.
Wow. 87, Karen.
Oh,
87. You went over. You were close, but you went over.
I was just going with the cat lovers.
The review I have is from a website called the Independent UK Horror Society.
As opposed to the dependent one.
I don't know. And it's dated March 29th, 2023. So this must have been a DVD release or something. And it's written by Beverly Price. And apparently she runs this website. And it's pretty long. I'm going to paraphrase it. I'm going to take all the part out where she basically tells the story of what happens, because that's what we're going to do.
Okay.
So she starts. When I started this little run of articles, I was expecting to highlight some of the lesser known films amongst the Hammer Great. But what I was not expecting was to come across a film from 1961 that I had never heard of. This might have happened because it was released under its sister company, BHP Productions and is considered an unofficial quote unquote hammer. So, unlike many of the other films I have touched upon, this will not have any of the rosy tints of nostalgia attached. So then she goes on to talk about what happens. She does mention at the end of, her telling the plot, she says, the way the cat stalks the killers mirrors a piece of Poe's prose, causing concern. See what she did there, Karen? Poe's prose. Causing concern, heart attacks, anxiety, and drownings. And it is delightful to watch the killers getting their comeuppance from a domestic pet.
It is.
She goes on, the shadow of the cat shows a change that was happening within the horror genre. We are not left with the kills happening off screen, but witness them in their full dreadful splendor. For example, not only do you see the impact of a body on the lawn, but it also bounces.
He did hit hard. I haven't said that.
Yeah. The film is based on a screenplay by George Baxt. While we are on familiar ground, The Shadow of a Cat is still an amusing film. This is another version of an old dark house with dishonest family members going to diabolical lengths to get their hands on the inheritance. It could be argued that the activeness of the cat takes away from the film. It might have worked better if there was more ambiguousness over the cat's intentions. Was the cat actually seeking revenge, or was the killer projecting their own guilt on the animal? However, despite the ridiculousness of the plot, there is still an element of threat to the film. This would be director John Gilling's start of a long career with Hammer, who later directed The Reptile, The Plague of the Zombies, and The Mummy's Shroud. Gilling makes The Shadow of the Cat an interestingly evil film, even if it is ruined slightly by its ridiculous plot and lack of notable characters. His direction is perfect, making the most of the Bray location, and despite it coming from BHP Production, it still feels like a Hammer film. The odd score was composed by Mikis Theodorikis, his only horror soundtrack. Overall, the score is one of spine-tingling danger, sometimes including ominous tones reminiscent of a thunderstorm. While Morel, I guess the guy who plays Michael, is the star of the film, he does have quite an accomplished cast around him. Divine Shelley gives some depth to the character that could have been played as overly friendly, and Vanna Goodsell provides joy to the film as the wife of Walter's devious nephew. And Jackson as Clara brings a real passion to the screen. Odd, ridiculous, engaging, and full of allure, The Shadow of the Cat is a beautiful, low-budget film. For a first-time viewing, it is an excellent film and one that I would happily revisit like many Hammer films. But unfortunately, it might be the most of the forgotten of all forgotten Hammer films. It is a brisk watch at 79 minutes and an excellent way to while away a Sunday afternoon.
I agree.
I do too. I like Beverly. I'm going to look her up some more on some Hammer films,
Yeah. Way
even
to
though
go,
she's not
Beverly.
of the time.
No. But she agrees with us.
I know. But I do like the ones of the time because it's interesting to see what they thought about it at the time. Even though most of them are critics and they're trying to be dicks. You know?
True. When you look back on films like this, there is nostalgia. So you probably are kinder in some ways.
All right. Before we get into it scene by scene, Karen, is it my choice already again?
Yes, I'm going to let you pick yet another film, Greg. What do you got?
The film I've chosen is a fairly, well, it's a year old, more or less. The First Omen from 2024.
Okay.
I have to do a First Omen. You just have to. Done them all, almost. I have a cocktail as well, Karen.
Well, did it come out this time, or you just like
No, no, it
you just
didn't.
want to see it? And
No, I just want to see it.
we should have seen it already. So
Yeah, well, it probably did come out in June because all the Omen films seem to come out in June. As
okay.
close to June the 6th as possible, apparently. Like the Omen remake in 2006 came out June 6th.
Okay.
Original Omen came out June 25th. So they're always in June. They're summer films.
All right, what cocktail do you have?
Cocktail I have is called the First Omen cocktail, Karen.
Why'd you choose that?
Well, I went to AI and I said, make me a please, you have to be nice to AI too. Can you please make a cocktail themed for the film The First Omen?
Why do you have to be nice to AI?
It helps.
In what way?
I don't, it just does. It helps.
It gets you a better helps like get you a better answer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. At least the one I was using. So we're going to need 2 ounces of dark rum, 1 ounce of pomegranate juice, 1 ounce black cherry juice, half an ounce of lime juice, half an ounce simple syrup, 2 dashes of bitters, and blackberries and cherries for garnish and ice.
That's a very complicated.
But it sounds delicious. We're going to combine the dark rum, pomegranate juice, black cherry juice, lime juice, simple syrup, and bitters in a cocktail shaker. So basically add everything to a cocktail shaker, right? Add ice and shake well until chilled. Strain the mixture into a chilled glass filled with ice. Garnish with blackberries and cherries to give it a dark, ominous look. And then it says optional. See, this is what you get when you say please.
Okay.
For an extra eerie touch, add a sprig of rosemary or a small piece of dry ice for a smoky effect.
Why does the rosemary make it creepier?
I don't know. Sprig of rosemary?
Rosemary planted at your front door is supposed to keep the evil away,
Well,
so
there you go.
yeah, but this is supposed to be evil, so it's a contradiction to me.
Well, we don't know if it's evil or not, Karen. Do
True.
we?
I'm guessing. I'm guessing from past data.
Well, this is a prequel, and the prequels always don't always follow past data. But I'd be willing to bet this one does. All right.
Can't wait.
So that'll be next week. The First Omen. It's been out streaming for a while, but is now down to a reasonable rental price of anything else you would rent on Amazon. So it was like crazy money there for a minute just to rent. All right. Are we ready to get into it? Scene by scene, Karen.
Yep,
Shadow of the Cat from 1961. I believe it's rated G.
probably.
Not
But
positive, though.
where did you watch it?
Well, I looked and I looked and I looked, Karen, today. And I was like, well, I'll try Archive. And there it was.
Yep, there it is.
Archive.org. Watch it for free. And I'll put a link in the show notes. The film begins and we see Ella Venable's will.
Well, it's a dark and stormy night outside. There's an old house. Come on, you got to set the
It's a
mood,
mansion,
Greg.
old dark
Don't just
house.
jump
It's an old
in.
dark house.
You can't just do that. You got to foreplay. You know, set the mood, Greg.
Okay, I'll try to remember that, Karen. So she's leaving everything to her husband, apparently, and it's dated November 9th, 1904.
Yeah.
So that tells us when this happens. And she's reading Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven when we see her. Well, we hear her first, but yeah.
Yeah. I did say there's a picture of a cat on the wall, a painting. And I said, that's going to come back.
See, I didn't see it the first time. Then we see someone approaching with a blunt object, Karen, I wrote.
Doesn't look good.
No. She plays a music box.
She's an older woman, we should say, too.
She
Just,
is.
yeah.
Walter, the butler, enters, and he beats Ella as Tabitha the cat watches.
It's pretty brutal, too. I was a little shocked by it.
It was, but it's very shadow.
It is, and there's not like blood splattering on the walls or
No,
anything like
no,
that,
no,
but
no.
it was a little shocking.
It was violent.
Yes. And there's a death before the credits, Greg. There you go.
Yeah. Especially when we meet her and she's an elderly woman and whatnot. Yeah, it's just not cool. Walter tells Ella's husband as he's carrying the body downstairs that the cat was up there. Clara, the maid, goes out and makes sure the coast is clear as Walter and Andrew carry the body out. And then we have credits. During the credits, I made a note of Barbara Shelley. And the cat was trained by John Holmes, Karen.
Way to go, John.
No mention of Hammer, I wrote.
Not even now. They haven't even added something.
Yeah, true. They bury the body in a shallow grave.
It's very shallow and they cover it with like moss.
Yeah, it's out in a swamp, basically.
Oh, I guess that's true.
And the cat is there watching again. And this is here I wrote cat's view question mark.
Yes.
It's not the first time we've seen it.
No, I think it's the second, and that's
Yeah.
when we put it together.
Yeah, yeah.
Can't get anything past us, Greg.
That's right.
I go, oh, it's the cat's view. Oh.
We have a better sense of deduction than the inspector. So then a carriage arrives at the mansion. Was it riding through the woods, Karen? Was it?
A little bit, yeah.
Wasn't quite the same as a hammer carriage through the woods, though, was it?
No. But it
In
was
brilliant Technicolor.
it was hammer adjacent. It had a little bit of it.
The cat watches as the mansion or the carriage arrives. An inspector and a newspaper man get out, and they're asking Walter. Well, I guess the inspector's asking Walter why he didn't report Ella missing
For 3 days. I think she's
Yeah.
been gone 3 days.
Now I don't really understand why the inspector's bringing a newspaper guy with him every time he goes to.
Everywhere he goes.
But whatever. I wrote Walter plays the grieving husband. Andrew is there trying to catch Tabitha, and I wrote Walter's a hothead.
Definitely used to getting his way.
Then we see Walter, Andrew, and the maid after the cop and newspaper guy go, and Walter is adamant he doesn't want anything in the newspapers. Walter tells Andrew he has to get the cat because he saw them and he knows. The cat knows, Karen.
Yeah, it's just weird.
So then we see Inspector and Michael, the newspaper guy, in the carriage leaving the mansion, and they talk about how everyone knows Walter only married Ella for her money. Then we cut to Walter, I guess, in the attic, and he falls
I think
through
oh yeah, he is in the attic.
floorboard.
Sorry. Yeah.
hole
Which
in
is
the floor.
important. The house is kind of falling apart, it looks like,
Yeah.
around them. I mean, the attic is the worst part of it, but the rest of it looks a little run down, I would say.
Andrew comes up, helps Walter. They all walk downstairs. Walter, the butler, and the maid. And Walter says he's going to send a telegram to Ella's favorite niece, inviting her to stay. He says something about she would be the only one to contest the will, and he wants her as close as possible so he can
Yeah.
deal with her if she
Keeps an
causes
eye.
issues.
Yeah.
Hello, boys and girls. Karen and I hope you are enjoying the podcast. You know what I think can make your listening experience even better? A delicious themed adult beverage. You can find all our drink recipes on our website, scaryspirits.com, in the recipe den. Tune in every Wednesday and join us for a drink. Now, back to the show.
So then Andrew goes after the cat with a fire poker. The cat goes down in the basement. Andrew follows to try to catch the cat. Walter goes as well, and they try to kill the cat. Walter accidentally hits Andrew with whatever he's swinging around. I don't know if it's another fireplace poker or a cane or something, but hits Andrew with it. So then the butler and the maid leave the basement, leaving Walter there alone. Walter tries to kill the cat. He runs into cobwebs. He steps on a rat. And then the cat jumps on Walter's back, and Walter has a heart attack.
But you have to understand they are hyper fixated on getting this cat. So it's not just like, oh, they go down. They are bound and determined to get this cat. And it's weird. You kind of let it go but at first it was like, what? But then I just kind of went with it. I'm
Wasn't
like,
there
okay.
a movie called That Darn Cat?
I don't know,
Was that a
maybe.
Disney film or something? So then the inspector and the newspaper guy, Michael, arrive back at the house as the doctor looks in on Walter, tells them he's had a heart attack. Michael says he's going to, or the inspector tells Michael it might not be a bad idea to actually, at this point, put something in the paper about Ella being missing. So maybe they can find her.
Yeah, because Walter keeps saying, oh, she goes for days without speaking to me. She's just off doing something. He's being very vague about where she might be. And they say, well, maybe if we put something about how he had a heart attack and she sees it, she might come back because she'd feel bad for him.
And I wrote, Andrew and Clara seem worried, maid and the butler. Michael then runs into Beth on the road. Her cab is broken down.
Hers
And
is a
she was on her
carriage.
way to the mansion.
Yeah,
Yeah, but he calls him a cabbie, but it is
right.
a carriage.
It's a
And
carriage.
and she asked him to help because they've lost a wheel, or a wheel has fallen off. They have lost a wheel. Michael then reintroduces himself to Beth because apparently they've known each other in the past, and he agrees to take her to the mansion. Takes her luggage, her two pieces of luggage, her big round hat box, and her little tiny.
Yes, with these gorgeous gowns come out of because they are dressed to the nines in this story the whole time.
I wrote, he doesn't help the cab driver with his wheel at all, though.
Nope, it's like, good luck. But I said, here's our love connection.
So then Andrew in Walter's room, Kat is there.
Okay, so before you go there, Michael's driving a car.
Yes.
And it's a very old-fashioned car.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that's a Kings Island car. Remember those cars you used to drive at Kings
Pretty
Island?
close. It's pretty close.
So the whole time I'm like, he takes his Kings Island car. So Kings Island is an amusement park near Cincinnati. And they had this track that you could drive on. But you couldn't go off it because there was a steel
One of them
bar.
was antique cars, and one of them was like race cars kind of things.
But you could drive. It was fun as a kid because you could steer the steering wheel and drive. You couldn't go off. We all tried to make it go off, but there was a steel.
You could ram your people ahead of you, or you could make the people behind you ram you. And
Those poor people who worked there. You couldn't leave the track. But anyway, that's the car. It immediately reminded me of the Kings Island car.
yeah, they're not there anymore.
No, haven't been for a long
Antique cars
time.
aren't there, but I think the other cars are still there.
Oh,
Maybe
really?
not though.
I bet not. Nobody that wouldn't be cool anymore.
I don't know. Maybe not. I think they put a roller coaster in there in that place. All right. So anyway, Michael and Beth are now in the car and they talk about the cat on the way to the mansion. Michael wonders if it's Tabitha that needs protecting because he says something like Beth is worried about the cat, but Michael's not sure the cat needs any help. I think that's foreshadowing, Karen.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just talk about the cat. Let's just take a break. I got a lot of cat stuff. So Tabitha is a tabby cat, which is not a breed. It's just a coat pattern. So they're recognized by their stripes, spots, or swirling patterns, and often have an M shape on their foreheads. They come in many colors and can be found in various cat breeds. There's 5 patterns: classic, which is marbled, mackerel, spotted, patched, and it says and patched. So maybe there's only 4. They can have various coat colors, including black, brown, gray, orange, and cream. They're known for their affectionate, intelligent, and social nature. The most common tabby patterns include mackerel and classic. And orange tabbies, which I think we've talked about before, but many orange cats are tabby cats, and most orange tabby cats are male. It's pretty rare to find a female orange tabby cat. The oranges they're special.
I remember you saying that.
So when do you think, give me a guess, how many, and I'll tell you, thousands of years ago, do you think cats were domesticated, likely domesticated?
God, 500,000 years ago.
No, only around 10 to 12,000 years ago in the Middle East. And it's interesting how they became domesticated because in the Middle East, in the Fertile Crescent region, was the area where some of the earliest human settlements emerged. So they stopped hunting and gathering and nomad lifestyle, and they actually
Like
settled
10,000 years ago?
10 to 12,000 years ago.
Yeah,
They
shows how much I know.
they settled, so they started growing crops, and then once they started growing crops and storing crops, the mice and vermin came. So once the mice and vermin came, the cats came to, feast on the vermin, and that's how they started to become domesticated because they started to get used to the humans in the settlements. So to review, Greg, in the Middle East, specifically the Fertile Crescent region.
Okay. Thank you, Karen. So then Andrew meets Beth and Michael at the door, and his face is scratched by the cat.
Yeah, he's looking bad.
And then right here I wrote, Michael and Beth make a love connection. This is when I wrote it. Beth goes to see her Uncle Walter.
Michael leaves in his Kings Island car. Elizabeth goes in to see her uncle.
Walter tells
the cat attacked, what's his name?
Andrew.
Andrew. I said, so the cat attacked Andrew. That's awesome.
Walter tells Beth that Ella made a new will and cut Beth out. Walter tells her if she stays with him and helps him through his bad health, he will see to it that she gets what she deserves.
She doesn't seem too upset by it.
She doesn't. Then Beth goes to her room. Apparently it's her room.
Yeah, she knows right where to go. She stayed there before, I said.
The cat comes to see her. Clara, the maid, comes in and the cat hisses and runs away. Clara calls in an evil demon and tells Beth that men are coming to take the cat away the next day. Then we cut to Walter, Andrew, and Clara talking about the cat. They can't catch it or kill it, apparently.
Yeah, they tried all kinds of things. They tried poison in the food. It's too smart to eat it, which, great, cats are often underestimated in terms of intelligence. Listen to this, feline behaviorists. There are feline behaviorists.
Of course there are.
And child psychologists often compare a cat's intelligence to that of a 2 to 3-year-old child. This comparison is based on similar learning methods such as imitation, observation, and experimentation. Cats can learn to open doors, respond to commands, and even recognize their own name. So 2 to 3-year-olds.
Except when you tell them to get away.
No, they just don't do it. That's the problem with cats. They know exactly what you want them to do, and then they don't do it. So like a 2 or 3-year-old, just like it says.
So then we see Michael and the inspector coming again to see Beth. We learn Walter has his brother and nephew coming to kill the cat, ? I wrote.
Yeah, they're just so intense about the cat. It's kind of funny.
Inspector believes Ella has come to foul play. Walter shows the inspector the will. And then Walter sees the cat. He believes the cat is trying to kill him, but no one else sees it. It jumps away before anyone else sees it. They hear the cat, and Michael goes out to look for it. He says he sees nothing, and Walter calls him a liar.
The cat's evil.
We see all Walter's relatives there. I guess his brother, his nephew, and his nephew's wife coming in a coach on the way to the mansion. And apparently his nephew did 2 years in prison for some investment scheme or something, I wrote.
I guess they took a significant amount of money from their Aunt Ella, and he lost it all and went to jail. And he makes a big deal about that through the whole thing, but it never really plays any part in it. But I will say none of these three are very likable. The wife's okay. She just wants her cut of the inheritance. But the other two are...
They're all good actors, though, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
So then we see the butler and the maid discussing what they've done. They don't like the relatives coming. They think they're being cut out or something, I guess, probably.
Well, and the more people involved, the less money for you.
That's right. And Beth greets the relatives. I don't think she likes them, I wrote.
No, especially Jacob.
Yeah, and then Jacob's wife, Louise, goes to see Walter. Beth walks in the kitchen and the maid throws a knife at hitting the door.
Very, very exciting.
And she says she was trying to hit the cat. And Clara talks about the horrible cat some more.
But then she says something here. She's hysterical about the cat. And she says the cat's staring at her with accusing eyes. And that comes back later.
Yeah. So Edgar, Jacob, and Louise meet with Walter. The cat is watching. Walter talks about the will. They have to find the original will and kill the cat.
Walter just lays out on the table what he did, puts his cards on the table.
Yeah.
So now everybody knows.
And Walter shows them a document agreeing what he promises them, witnessed by the maid and the butler. So then Beth gets on the telephone and calls Michael. They're going to meet in the coach house in 10 minutes. So Michael must be pretty close to the mansion.
I said a coach house in an hour. Whatever. It's fine.
Beth finds the cat.
The cat keeps coming up to Beth and being nice. So Beth can pick it up, pet it, it's purring. But then the cat hears the other people and gets crazy.
Well, Beth says, "Oh, like, let's go see Uncle Walter." It runs away.
Yeah.
So then Beth and Michael meet in the coach house. She tells Michael that everyone is frightened of something. They kiss, and Michael offers to take her away, Karen. Michael believes the cat knows what happened to Ella, though. He tells Beth that he believes Walter is behind the whole thing somehow. Beth refuses to listen.
But they're all acting so suspiciously. It's kind of funny. But she still thinks, not Uncle Walter. You're like, ugh, okay. Not the guy who's been left everything 3 days before my aunt disappeared. Can't be.
Then Edgar, Jacob, Louise, and Andrew, they're going over a trap that I guess Edgar and Jacob found in the cellar, explaining how they're going to trap this cat with a couple mice. Beth walks in and sees them. She doesn't seem pleased. So then we cut to Beth sleeping, Karen.
Which I must say, she looks completely different with her hair down.
She does.
She looks like 15 years younger.
Yep. Light fixture above her is swinging, and we see a cat in the hallway.
She hears something, but I couldn't tell what it was.
So then we see the cat outside, the trap outside, as the others hide and waiting to pull the rope to the door slam shut on the cat.
Yeah, it's got two mice in it. So you know the cat's not eating because they keep putting poison in the food. So they put some live mice inside the cage so the cat will go into the cage. But then as this goes on, you don't know if the cat went in on purpose to be caught or
I
if it's
guess.
just, I think it's all a mastermind by the cat. But go
Okay.
on.
Cat goes into the cage and they release the door. Andrew grabs the cat and puts it into a bag. He's going to take it out in the swamp and drown it. Everyone very happy.
Yes, very happy. Woohoo!
Andrew running through the woods there, but he falls and lets go of the bag, and the cat runs out. Cut back to the house. Everyone's celebrating. Beth comes in and tells them she thinks it's shameful what they have done. Cut to Andrew chasing the cat in the swamp. Andrew falls into the swamp and the cat watches as he drowns.
Yeah, it's like a quicksand. So the cat leads him. Oh, like the cat lets him get close. The cat walks across a fallen log, tree, whatever. And since the cat is light, it kind of walks across the quicksand. But here comes quicksand because he goes in. I know it's a swamp, but it's basically like he gets sucked down in there and drowns.
Then we have Edgar and Jacob back at the mansion, wondering where Andrew is.
He's been gone for 4 hours.
They think something must have gone wrong. So then Clara sees cat's footprints in the kitchen and screams.
Yeah, she loses her shit.
Beth tells them they are behaving badly.
But she doesn't get why they're all so weird about it.
She stops everyone from going up to see Walter except Clara the maid. She can go, I guess. I don't know why, but she does. She goes up and tells Walter the cat is back and Andrew is missing. Clara wants to leave. Walter begs her not to.
Yeah, I almost thought they had a thing, the way he begged her to stay and not leave him alone. But I don't think so.
Cat jumps on Clara and she falls down the stairs. She gone. Michael arrives.
Almost at that moment.
Yes, Louise is frantic. She says it's the cat. Jacob slaps her.
Yeah, because she's losing it. Not that it's okay to slap her, but
Michael calls the inspector. Cat watches as they carry Clara's body out.
with satisfaction, I might say.
Yeah. Cut to Louise and Jacob. Louise wants out. Jacob says he will make it up to Louise when they have the money. From now on, there will be no more other women, Karen. See the inspector talking to Walter. And I guess Louise and the others are there. Louise blames the cat for killing Clara. Police officer enters the room with the bag and says he saw footprints and suspect that Andrew fell into the swamp and drowned. Michael again says he thinks the cat is distressed because Ella is missing.
The
That's
cat's
right.
angry
Yes,
and seeking revenge. He says seeking revenge.
he does.
In case we weren't on board, Michael's leading us down.
Beth tells Michael that the previous evening she heard a noise coming from the attic. Michael
Like
and
someone
Beth
was digging.
go up to investigate. Michael finds holes in the wall that someone has been looking for something. Cat watches them. They leave. Louise comes to sit with Walter because I guess they're taking turns sitting with Walter all night long.
Because he doesn't want to be alone now that the cat's back.
Walter says he would prefer that Beth sit with him. And Walter is angry that Beth and Michael were in the attic. He tells them not to go up there again. The floors aren't safe.
Yeah,
They
he
could
does
be
have a
hurt.
reason.
Beth asks Walter why he is afraid of the cat. She wants to know why Clara and Andrew were afraid of it.
Well,
He
he
says he
said
doesn't know. He says that he's never like cats never liked him and whatever. Ella
yeah, so he
preferred the
has a
cat to
reason.
him, and
But then she says, okay, well, if I buy that's why you're afraid of the cat, why is everybody else afraid of it?
he says he doesn't know and to stop asking him questions. He needs to get
Yes.
some sleep.
Yeah. Good day.
Then we see Edgar and Jacob smoking and discussing the will. Cat watches them. And right here, I wrote, Edgar has a good voice for radio. I bet was a voice actor as well. Jacob wants to do away with Walter, ? I wrote, because Jacob says some things that he's not comfortable with so much
Yeah.
relying on Walter.
Yeah. Jacob is the criminal.
Jacob comes in to relieve Beth, sitting with Walter. Jacob smokes a Marlboro. He opens a window and calls for the cat.
Yes.
Then he leaves the room and goes up to the attic. Cut to Beth sleeping again. And again, her light fixture swings above her. See Jacob digging in the attic in the wall. Beth makes a phone call. Walter wakes up and finds himself alone. He sees the windows open. Cat enters and jumps on Walter's bed. Walter sees it and yells. Louise walks in and finds Walter's body and screams, "He gone!" And there are
Okay. So,
cat prints on him.
yes. At some point, Walter says, the cat's going to catch my breath, which is
Yes.
kind of an old wives' tale. I liked when I looked it up. It says, the idea that cats can catch your breath is a myth. Cats are not capable of doing so. It's a superstition that likely arose from old wives' tales and observation of cats sleeping near people, which might have been misinterpreted. Cats are more likely to be sleeping near you for comfort, warmth, and to bond. They think it might have started because a lot of times it would happen when babies were in their cribs, and it had to do with the phenomenon occurring sudden infant death syndrome when the cat happened to be in the crib also. So that's where it sort of comes from.
I wrote, Jacob smokes another Marlboro.
Yeah, he's a smoker.
See the cat playing with a ball of yarn. He's very happy, apparently. And there's some silly music to play.
I don't think that was the same cat. I think that was maybe stock footage or something. But yes, either the cat's very proud of himself for killing all the people, or he's just a friendly little cat. Why is anybody worried about him?
Then Inspector arrives. Doctor says Walter died of a heart attack. Beth mentions hearing noises up in the attic. Michael tells Edgar that he knows someone is digging into the walls looking for something in the attic. Edgar then produces a will written by Walter, leaving the estate to him. Good day.
Just happened to have it in his suit pocket.
Sorry. Good
That's
day.
not suspicious either.
You can all leave now. Good day.
Yeah, it's my house. Get out.
This is my house. Louise wants to leave, but Jacob refuses to let her. Michael and the inspector.
And she's actually shocked. She's like, I know what you did. I saw the window was open. She's not happy with how things are proceeding.
Then we see Michael and the inspector talking about the will. Michael believes that they were looking for an original will, maybe leaving everything to Beth. And I wrote, they're going to call the attorney or something? Is that what they're doing?
Yeah, Beth knows her aunt's attorney, so
Okay.
they call it the solicitor. But he
And
would have a copy if there was another will.
so then we see the police in the swamp. I wrote looking for the cat, but I think they're looking for Andrew as well. I think they're looking for both.
Yeah, somewhere along there, they said they found some footprints in the swamp.
Yeah.
And so they were going to drag the swamp the next morning, and that's what they're doing.
So then we see Edgar, Jacob, and Louise. Edgar wants to sell the house as soon as possible, but they have to find the will first. Louise again wants to leave. Edgar refuses. Cut back to Beth and Michael and the inspector. The attorney died. The solicitor died, I guess. Don't know where the documents are now. They talk about a safe deposit box or
They know
something.
all the documents are in a safe deposit box, but they don't know where that is.
Yeah. Michael again believes the cat knows what happened. Cat watches as they pull Andrew's body from the swamp. Inspector arrives, wants to talk to Edgar. Beth questions Edgar, Louise, and Jacob why they are afraid of the cat. Beth believes somehow they all know what happened to Ella. Inspector wants to search the house. Edgar refuses. Inspector says he will get a warrant. Good day. Cat runs upstairs and Jacob goes to try to get it. We see the cat on Walter's coffin.
Yeah.
Jacob again swings a fire poker at it. Cat goes out the window and Jacob follows.
Obsessively.
Yeah.
You know,
Follows
like,
him out on the roof, on the ledge, out onto the roof.
because what's the cat going to do? Like, that's what I kept saying. Like, I don't get it. But he's obsessed and he's risking his life going out on the ledge to get the cat. And the cat didn't even witness him do the murder. He's witnessed him. Well, I guess he did kill the uncle. So, yeah, he did do murder. Do murder.
Jacob didn't do anything to the uncle.
Yeah, he opened the
Cat
window.
did it.
Oh, but he opened the window.
Inspector, Michael, Beth, and Louise all outside watching as Jacob tries to get the cat up on the roof. Jacob falls off the roof. He gone, I wrote.
He bounced, is what I said.
And I wrote, I wonder if it's bad hammer blood. Because you can't really tell because it's black and white.
Yeah, but
It looked pretty good in black and white, but it might have been chocolate syrup. Who knows?
Yeah, it was pretty thick.
So then we see Edgar in the attic, or Ella's room, I guess. He
Which
removes
was the attic. Yeah.
He removes a painting of the cat and digs into the wall. He finds a box. Cat sees him. He sees the cat. He chases the cat up to the attic.
But why does he need what? He's got the box. He knows he's got the will. Why does he go after the cat?
Mm.
I'm like, he's got what he needs. Just leave.
The cat knows. The cat knows.
I know
too
they
much,
kept saying
Karen.
that. It's just crazy. Who's
Edgar-
the cat gonna tell?
Edgar falls through a floorboard. The floor begins giving way. A beam falls on Edgar. He gone. And he tears up the attic trying to kill this cat, too.
Yeah, which I said he should just left. He had what he needed.
So then the police find the box with the original will of Ella. Everything is left to Beth. Cat enters. They follow it. Cat leads Michael and the inspector to the body of Ella in the shallow grave.
With her hand sticking
Her
out.
hand sticking out. Michael comes back to tell Beth they found Ella. Beth wants Michael to take her away. Take me away. Then we cut immediately to the house is sold. New family arriving. Cat still there watching. The grandfather and I guess his son and wife and their son or something. Grandfather talks about his money. He's not happy. He's going to die of boredom out here.
And they just want to change Grandpa's will.
Yeah, and the husband and wife talk about grandfather changing his will. But they're pleased to see the cat. It's a good omen, apparently, Karen, when a cat meets you at your new house.
Well, there you go.
Credits, the end. All right, Karen. What is your critique of the cat's eye cocktail? See
It's a
what I
little
did there?
intense for me. Yeah, it's a little intense.
It is. I don't know what it is. It's
too much gin.
Maybe it's too much gin. I thought it was the lemon for a minute, or the citrus, but
I don't know. Some soda water, some simple syrup, something like that. I think would have gone a long way.
Yeah.
But it's a martini, basically, and that's not something I really enjoy. So it's okay. The flavors are fine together. And if you like gin, you'll definitely like it.
Yeah. It's very dry. Dry gin, dry vermouth,
Right.
lemon juice.
A little parched.
Yeah, a little parched. Luckily, I have another beverage here to help me.
Thank God.
Anything we learned today, Karen?
Well, we learned
So
that
much about cats. I think it's
cats.
all
Oh, I
about
do have
cats.
one other thing just before we go. If I can find it. Hold on.
I'll just write, we learned about cats.
Yes. More than you'd ever want to know about cats. A fear of cats is called allurophobia, which is the phobia of cats, an intense and irrational fear or loathing of cats. It's characterized by anxiety and avoidance of cats, which can significantly impact daily life and relationships, especially since cats are common pets and readily encountered. And the belief that cats have 9 lives is a myth with roots in various cultures, most notably in ancient Egypt. The number 9 itself holds significance in different cultures, and the association with cats likely developed through a combination of factors, including Egyptians' reverence for the felines as divine creatures and the cat's own impressive survival instincts. Yeah, I think everything I said today was about cats. I don't think I had anything else.
Everything was about cats, Karen. Everything.
How awesome is that? There's just doesn't get much better.
I didn't get any music references, and I did mention Dementia 13, so
There's no heavy metal Cat's Eye song. That seems like there should be.
probably is.
Doesn't it seem like cats prowling or something? There's got to be something somewhere.
I'm sure there is. All right. Anyone you need to thank this week, Karen?
Well, I'd just like to thank our listener because there are so many podcasts out there. We really appreciate when you take the time to listen to us babble on about cats. Because what's better than that? What about you, Greg? Who do you need to thank?
Karen, I'm going to thank the band Verse 13 for providing all the music in the Scary Spirits podcast.
The music definitely makes the podcast better.
Anything else, Karen?
Please drink responsibly.
Yes.
Thanks so much for listening. Want to keep in touch? Check out our website, scaryspirits.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Scary Spirits Podcast. Find us on YouTube at Scary Spirits Podcast. If you have questions or comments, you can email us at info@scaryspirits.com. To help us grow the podcast, you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. You know, we really do appreciate your support. And as always, please drink responsibly.